Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. One of the best games to ever come out, and one of the most beloved games in all of the Zelda chronology and gaming in general. And of course, this game got remade once, but we'll talk about that. Today being Ocarina of Time's 21st birthday, I really want to go over an idea, something that I just can't stop thinking about, and I really believe that this game should get remade again. You know, the 3DS, the 3DS remake was a thing. It was nice, it was great, but I feel that this game should get a true definitive edition. Hey guys, it's HMK once again with another Zelda video. And I wanted to make this video for a very long time, and I feel that the 21st birthday of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, today is the day to put it out and to talk about it. But I'm gonna have a bigger concept video to go into better detail of what I'm gonna say when I want The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake true and true, and the differences between what I want and what the 3DS remake was. So this is gonna be wild. Not Breath of the Wild, but wild all the same. So for the safety of hype, strap on in. Let's get into The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake again. So of course this game did get remade over in 2011, and it was a one-to-one remake. Even though it had got a great new makeover, it looked like how Ocarina of Time was always meant to look, but it wasn't truly HD. The 3DS is not capable of reaching high definition, no. And I felt that for the longest, Ocarina of Time should reach HD, high definition. And you know, we've seen a lot of fan attempts when using the Unreal Engine to show what it could look like, what Ocarina of Time could look like in HD. And given that the only true Legend of Zelda game that was built from the ground up in HD, without counting remakes, is Breath of the Wild. I mean, Link's Awakening. That is a completely new remake, new art style, and is in HD, built from the ground up, but at the same time it's a remake. Breath of the Wild is the only HD Zelda out there would not constitute those rules, because Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, those were remasters. But I feel a whole new world of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time when it comes to an HD remake should be made. Not in the style of the 3DS one, because like I said before, it's one-to-one. But the type of remake that I want, that I feel that should be made, Nintendo, is the style of Resident Evil 2. A remake like that, where everything is built from the ground up in a completely, not completely new, but a very familiar yet huge breath of fresh air when it comes to an HD remake of a very beloved title. And in that sense, I don't want the remake to be one-to-one. I want this to be the definitive edition of Ocarina of Time. Something that is truly what they wanted Ocarina of Time to be, what they truly envisioned for the game. But of course, they were limited by the technologies of their time, and at 2011, limited by the 3DS technology. But if a game like this were to come to Nintendo Switch, they have a huge playground to work with. The world of Hyrule in Ocarina of Time will be bigger, yet familiar, and they will add things in terms of gameplay, of course, maybe some Breath of the Wild flavor to it. But in this expanded world, I feel that a lot of more context when it comes to the story and what happens during the days and the era of the Hero of Time could be added to this remake. Not changed, don't change the story, just add to it. Expanded cutscenes, voice acting, bigger and better interactions for the characters. Here's an example. Remember that scene where Link leaves the Kokiri Forest for the first time, saying goodbye to Saria? Expand on that cutscene a lot, because of course in the Ocarina of Time and the 3DS version, they literally see each other, have a small conversation, no real physical interaction. Saria gives Link the fairy ocarina, and then when Saria says, "When you play the ocarina, I hope you think of me and come back to the forest to visit," Link just backs away and runs. I need more context, a more powerful emotion showed from Link and Saria, maybe some physical emotions, a hug maybe. There's been tons of imagination on the part of Zelda fans in terms of videos, commentary, fan art, on how this cutscene could have played out in a more intimate manner, something with a lot more detail. And I feel that they can apply this type of thinking, this type of imagination and nature to the entirety of the game, using that as an example. With that being said, narrative elements such as meeting Zelda and meeting Ganondorf for the first time could have a lot more added context in order to make the story a bit bigger and make the adventure having more interesting side paths and objectives to go towards before reaching that part of the game, thus giving the player a more fuller story and giving a reason to expand this world and to explore it a lot more. And remember, I'm saying expand the story, not to change it, because of course we have, the Zelda timeline and the Zelda lore to think about. And of course, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is indeed the 5th Zelda game, Zelda 5. And we have so many Zelda games coming out. With Breath of the Wild 2, it'll be the 20th in the series. And there's been a lot of lore to come afterwards in Ocarina of Time. By adding certain context to a remake like this, can make sense more of the games that were to come after. I'm not exactly saying to retcon what happened in Ocarina of Time. No, just add to it to make sense of things that were to come afterwards, especially with the whole conundrum of the worship of Hylia that happened in Skyward Sword, but seemed to disappear for years and eons all the way leading up to Breath of the Wild, and then everyone is worshiping Hylia again. They could slide something like that into Ocarina of Time. For a remake at least. The definitive edition. And of course, adding to and updating the gameplay of what we know from Ocarina of Time for this remake could entail things from Breath of the Wild and making magic, arrows, all these items much more spectacular and grand in a sense. Possibly making combat a bit more stylistic when Link swings his sword. Adding elements in the game to make sense of items that never really shined in the first place, such as the ice arrow. And possibly re-implementing the fact that medallions in the game were supposed to have abilities attached to them. Remember Farore's Wind, Din's Fire, Neru's Love? Yeah, those elements, those attacks, those magical prowesses and whatnot were supposed to be mapped to medallions in the first place, but of course they can't anymore since Super Smash Bros. And Zelda are using those abilities and we know what they are already. They can get new abilities. Energy-based attacks and actions depending on the element of the medallion. That could be added to the remake. And of course, adding those can create new puzzles and enemies that can only be affected by those type of abilities. And of course, adding things like more side quests, mission boards, synthesis, and clothing options can make this a game that is much bigger and better than the original. Ocarina of Time already has an awesome base to it, but adding a bunch of stuff, new and old, flavors from what we've seen in past Zelda games after Ocarina of Time, can make this a truly definitive version, definitive edition of what was known, and to some still is, the best game ever created. While the 3DS remake of Ocarina of Time I feel is the definitive version right now, considering that it has all this awesome stuff attached to it, better graphics, and of course Master Mode with a mirrored world in it, I feel that Ocarina of Time should get the full true from the ground up remake edition treatment stuff, all that good jazz, Resident Evil 2 style, yes. And of course, it being Ocarina of Time, everybody kind of knows what it is when it comes to people who grew up with The Legend of Zelda, but this once again is a great chance for Nintendo to bring back a classic for a new generation, built for a new generation of gamers and systems. And of course, I know a lot of people say, but it already got remade, we should remake other Zelda games. I just want one more time, Nintendo, remake Ocarina of Time just one more time, and we're good. And then you can move on to other games such as Minish Cap, Skyward Sword, the Oracle games, whatever. Just remake Ocarina of Time one more time in the style process of Resident Evil 2. Trust me, something like this would be amazing. But at the end of the day, I want to know what you guys think about a possible Ocarina of Time remake in the style of Resident Evil 2, full HD through and through, expanded world story, and all of that good jazz. Leave what you think in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to HMK while like and sharing the video for more Zelda content that happens every week on my channel. Big thanks once again to all my patrons for helping making this video happen. If you want to find out how you can support HMK for just $1 a month, please check out my Patreon. Alright guys, until the next Zelda video, this has been HMK. Happy birthday, Ocarina of Time, Big 21. Until the next video, I'll check you guys later.